Another episode of Not Gonna Lie. It's me, Earl. I got my boy Matt in the building. Obi's in the building. We
Yes, sir.
here. We here. There's no game today, but we bringing that energy from the game five. We excited. We definitely gonna jump right into that. We also gonna talk a little Dame Lillard. There's some speculation and some things that are starting to start to make their way onto the wall. The writing is on the wall. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So we'll see what's going on with Dame time. Do we got any not gonna lies? We didn't even talk about that ahead of
Always
time. But
got
if
to,
anybody got one, you
always
can throw
got.
it
Not
out
gonna
there.
lie.
Yeah, that's
Always got
absolutely.
one.
Go with it. Go with it. Go with it. Start us off.
Not gonna lie. LeBron is an ill dude, man. Um, but Space Jam was trash. Yo, listen. Space Jam was horrible. There was no There was no like iconic moments. There was no funny. I didn't laugh the entire movie. Maybe the pig made me laugh for a quick second. It just was bad, and I don't want to hear all this. The internet's trying to make you feel bad about thinking it's a bad movie. Talking about, oh, it's for 7-year-olds. Your 30-year-old ass needs to chill out. No, listen. Good movies are good movies. I know plenty of adults that watched Moana and Frozen and Zootopia, and it was like, yo, classic, or good movies. This movie was trash. Like, there's nothing about, like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. So I mean, y'all can have whatever y'all want, but that's my not
No,
gonna
that's
lie.
not gonna
Space
lie.
Jam
I'm
was
gonna let
terrible.
it. I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let it linger out in the universe. You know, maybe somebody one of
But
our fans will have a rebuttal or a
I
comment. I'll
enjoyed
let it rock.
I enjoyed the idea of Space Jam. So I watched the entire thing. Like, I enjoyed the idea of an all black cast, and LeBron letting his son shine. You know what I mean? Like, in the idea of it, it was dope. So I liked the concept. It was just the writing was bad. Like, LeBron's acting didn't kill it for me. It didn't ruin it for me. It was just the writing was trash, in my opinion. Go ahead though. Anyone got? I'm
You
not
got
gonna lie.
you got not gonna lie, Ben.
My not gonna lie is that I feel crazy once I still feel even more crazy about my son's Suns and four prediction. Maybe I know it sounds dumb that I did that now in hindsight, but at the time, like I said before, Giannis, I thought he wasn't even gonna be able to make it through this series, and he is a monster. And Chris Middleton at home is a MVP candidate. So yeah, that's my not gonna lie.
I got one. I can come with one on the fly. Not gonna lie, it's starting to look a lot like the Deers will be celebrating a championship in a few days. Not gonna lie, that's what it's starting to look like, and that is definitely not what I picked. That's definitely not what I thought was going to go down. But I just want to say again, my picking of Phoenix was not based on me thinking that their team was better on paper. It was me looking at the way they were executing and sticking to what they were good at, and the way that Milwaukee was not doing that. And once Milwaukee started to play to their strengths, um, it looks like um, it looks like Phoenix may not have another adjustment to make, right? Like they may not have another move, right? Like another counter, so to speak. And I'm still picking Phoenix. I'm gonna pick them in 7 now. But obviously my pick of 5, is out the window. I hung in there strong. But not gonna lie, it's looking real shaky for the point guard. And oh my goodness, I would hate to be there that next morning, after CP3 blows 2-0 lead in the finals, right? That's what the headline would read, right? And I just
It's gonna look
right? No,
crazy.
would it?
No,
I don't
you're
know.
right.
I'm legit asking. I
It
don't know.
the headlines aren't gonna involve Devin Booker that much because he played out of his mind, and it's definitely gonna gear towards will CP3 ever get a ring?
Not everybody's supposed to get a ring, man. It's not an issue, man. Like, I'm happy for CP for getting here in the first place. Like I said, man, Iverson getting to the chip meant a lot. That's iconic. You know what I mean? That's like we'll look back and say that's like his ring, especially at his height, where you can't impact the game as much as these 6'8" dudes that are, that can play every position, almost every position, Um, so, but who
No,
wants
I
to
think
start it
that's
off?
a
We gonna go,
perfect comparison. No. I just like we can sit right there for a second, we because we're
okay,
going right into game five anyway. Um, where you were what you were just described the comparison that you used in terms of getting to the finals being Iverson's
yeah,
ring, and I think Chris Paul is definitely a player that falls in that category, like of guys that, for whatever reason, if you want to say it's because of being undersized, because they're a point guard, they're dependent on their teammates or their circumstance, whatever the reason is, we've definitely made mention of the fact that there are not a lot of champion point guards, that were the best players on their teams in terms of like undersized,
yeah,
played under the rim, miniature, guards,
yeah,
it's a short list,
yeah.
so
And I mean, I don't like to live in this world, but if Chris Paul was 6'8", he'd be the best player of all time. Like if you could just give him 8 inches, like he would be the greatest player of all time. Like,
and
and
we hate to do that
well,
because we can
if
say
I
that about
you can
so
do that with
many
everybody
people,
though.
right? Like,
Yeah,
so
if
that's why
Isaiah
we hate to do
Thomas,
that. Yeah.
if the original Isaiah Thomas is 6'8", he'd be better than Kobe and Jordan. Like, so like we can't do that. But it's just, you do have to be reasonable when you're saying, like, okay, these dudes, while they're good, they have to be paired with someone else, dominant in order to win a championship. And in terms of them, smaller players being the lead dogs, it is a lot less likely. We do have Isaiah Thomas, and then we do have, Curry's chip, where it was like, he wasn't even finals MVP, and then they played against all injured players. Like, I always mention that one, but it was just like a weird thing against against the grain, where it's like, yo, Curry was the MVP of the league. Yes, but it's like, in the playoffs, what would have happened if everybody was healthy in each round instead of going against them, and then like he played against Kyrie and LeBron James, like, and Kevin Love. Like, if they were all
Yeah.
healthy at the same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
what would have
Yeah.
happened that year?
Yeah.
We'll never know. But those are the only instances the original IT, and with Curry. So salute to Chris Paul, but not gonna lie, if they end up losing this series, it's gonna be because they blew it. I won't say they choked it away, but they definitely blew it. Like, last night's game was kind of, we're gonna look back at last night's game, and not even the game before, where Chris Paul tripped and whatnot. We're gonna look at last night's game and say this was a microcosm of the entire series. If they lose, where it's like Booker going crazy, he had his 40. Chris Paul had a nice 21 and 11, whatever. But they had the lead early off, and then they ended up losing it. But you know down the stretch, when they had a chance to win, Booker didn't do what he normally does. He didn't pull up, and he didn't pull out when things didn't go right. He could have pulled out, when they didn't have the numbers in transition. That would have been nice, and then you turn around,
That's a very good
hell of a
point.
play, a heck of a play
He
by
got out muscle, man. That looked like Jamal Adams taking the ball from Daniel Jones.
Facts. That looked exactly like that. I wouldn't say I'm muscle, because he used to surprise. He didn't even know that he turned around and just getting robbed. Like someone just that reminds me of like lunch. Lunch and growing up, when you turn around, you don't want that.
Time out.
Oh,
Time out.
Timeout is better than you don't want that, because you don't
When
want
I
that.
tell you, just took it. Yeah,
Nah. You don't want that. Worse, yeah, timeouts when you took it. You don't want that was when someone be like, "Yo, can I get a piece of something?" Like, nah.
Yeah.
It's like, cool, and they smack the whole. You don't want that. Like, I don't know who invented that. That is the most. I've seen so many fights. I've seen so many fights over that. But yeah, so it was a heck of a play by Jrue Holiday. And which capped off Jrue Holiday's best playoff performance. So, and then top it off, the next
he had
play.
13 dimes too.
Yeah, facts. He was balling, and then I'll get to him later after I let you go, but I'll get to the Bucks later. But I just want to finish off with the Suns and say, like, top it off on the next. After that, first of all, Jrue was feeling himself. I don't know why he threw that alley. Like that was nuts in my mind. I was like, yo, that's one of those. Yo, no, pull out, and then
In
and then it
2K.
worked. Yeah, he's
No,
like,
no, 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 no,
pull
no,
out.
no. Yes.
You screaming at,
No, no, no,
and
no,
he
no, no.
yes.
Yes.
Or the coach is like, you know, what I mean, like, but I mean, it was. I guess it wasn't that crazy. You know, what I mean, like you're throwing to the best person to catch the alley in the league. You know, and it's a 2-on-1. You might as well secure the bucket. And then Chris Paul went back to, and I don't want to bash on him. I've been very nice, so y'all don't kill me in the comments about Chris Paul because he's been killing. I mean, he's the man, but he went back to dirty Chris Paul for a moment out of
Oh, with the
desperation.
push.
Out of desperation, but if he was 6'5", that would have been a technical immediately. Because you cannot, that was ridiculous. He pushed. It just so happens that Giannis is 7 foot and eats fufu, you know, and Chris Paul 6 foot, you know, and it's not that serious. Like, but anyone else does that, a full blown push, not even attempting to touch the ball, that is an automatic technical foul, a flagrant. You might get ejected for that. Seriously.
Yeah.
So, and it was stupid. It was a stupid foul because it just changed the entire game. Because they would have had two chances at the what's the name, two chances at tying it up because they would have been down 3 and they would have had a timeout. So they could have came down with an easy bucket, or they could have came down, shot it, and fouled, or whatever, you know, did whatever they wanted to do. So that was a mistake by Chris Paul. So I'm gonna let y'all go and take it over before I touch on the Bucks.
Bentley, let me give you a leading question as you give your piece. Do you think if the Bucks do end up winning this series, which it it's leaning in that direction, right?
Yeah,
they only need to win
that's
one,
where it's trending.
right? Right. Would you say that Phoenix lost it or Milwaukee won it? Like, is it more what Phoenix isn't doing, or is it what Milwaukee is doing? And then you can just
Uh, that's a great question. I'm leaning towards Milwaukee won it. Honestly, they came into this series with your lead dog, your MVP with a knee that had bent the opposite direction. He was a game time decision. You know what I'm saying? I think on in game 1,
yeah,
and
yeah,
we were all shocked that he played. I was probably the most shocked. I'm like, oh, he's
yeah,
playing. So I'm thinking, we joked around the group chats like he's about to come out on some Willis Reed shit on support, play 5 minutes,
facts, facts,
inspire and rally the troops, inspire the
facts.
squad, and go to the bench.
And we was like, that
But
ain't gonna cut it.
yeah, so that's why I had my prediction. But this man has straight dominated, even with his free throw woes. You know what I'm saying?
Did we
Even
make?
in the go ahead, go ahead.
Sorry. No. I was just gonna say, did we make our prediction after game 1?
We did, but I still thought he was hurt.
Mm.
I
Okay, yeah,
think
that's
game
right.
one
Yeah,
might have been. I think game 1 might have been his worst game. I'd have to
it
go back
was.
and look at.
It wasn't a bad game, and he was chilling. Like he wasn't going
Yeah,
like
and
he
that's
was
when you.
exerting
That's
himself.
when
Yeah,
you bodied him because you were like, you can't take whatever amount of
yeah.
shots he took. You know what I'm
You can't
saying?
take the shots.
So
Yeah.
I thought he was incapable of taking more shots. That's why I made the prediction because that's how he did. And then he came out damn near 40 points every game since then. Every game he's dominated. So I got to tip my hat off to the Bucks. Everybody stepped up. Middleton, we killed him a few times in I think it was the net series. For his lackluster performances, he was only doing good at home. Now he's starting to get more consistent in the finals, which is crazy. And Jrue has just been a Swiss Army knife utility. You know what I'm saying? And he's taking damn near he's like a better. I hate doing player comparisons because y'all probably gonna kill me, but he's like a Draymond with offense. He's out here D'ing up the guards. He's doing everything he can. You can put him anywhere. He's dropping dimes, and he's straight balling. And no, I saw for the first time on Twitter today they referred to them as having a big 3, and I was like, okay, and I'm like, shit, they playing like a big 3. I don't know if you could really, and they getting paid like big 3. So, but it's weird to me that I've never seen any media outlets refer to Milwaukee Bucks as even possessing a big 3.
Right.
But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Do you want to go into the Buck? You had some more. You said you wanted to go on the Bucks, Obi.
Yeah. I could definitely go in more on the Bucks. I wanted so we can I'll just kick off with Jrue. He's been struggling in the playoffs. I don't. It's almost like I haven't seen him hit a 3 in the playoffs. Like he's missed so many. but he has been consistent with his defense. He's been consistent with his mindset. Like he hasn't like he he struggled, but he has like, here and there in game. Every time he played well, they won. Like and um, but the good thing about Giannis is while he is a star for cooking, he can't close. He can't finish the game, right? He can't close, or he may need someone else to do some of that, crucial scoring when the half court system, doesn't go his way, right? When it's just like you can't just back up and go forward, and he needs either. He doesn't need a big three. He just needs one other person. So sometimes it's Chris, and sometimes it's Jrue. But in this scenario, they were down 16, down 16, and they needed both of them to come back. So everyone stepped up and had a good game. Um, that defense is tenacious. I can't say enough about that defense. Like Jrue really stepped up defensively, and he's been guarding CP. And there's one thing that I didn't really realize too. Like Steven Jackson, mentioned how they guarded CP, and with the Spurs, and how they forced him left because he, like the way he goes right, he does that the way he pulls the ball over like this and shoots it like it's money when he goes right.
Like
but
a swooping.
It's a swooping thing. Yeah, that fade, like he does it over 7-footers, but send him left, and I'm not saying he's not. I don't know. Like he's top 10 most skilled players of all time, but you send him left, he can't do that. I'm not saying he's Lonzo Ball on there, whatever. But whatever happened is, since Steven Jackson said that, they've been kind of forcing him left, and he's kind of not been the same impact. Like I'm not sure if they're listening to the media out there like that, but it's kind of, I don't know. A lot of people thinking like, yo, they're kind of like Steven Jackson might have gave these dudes a chip. It might have happened. So we'll see. And the rest of the dudes, like Giannis, like I said, he has been. Giannis has been really like the most consistent player in the entire series. He missed those big free throws, and I wonder what the story would have been if they ended up losing that game. If he missed those 2 free throws in under a minute and then they lost. But like I said, with Giannis, he needs someone else to step up. And Jrue stepped up, got that steal, and threw it up to him. And Chris hit a big shot. I do believe as well. So it's just like, shout out to the Bucks. I'll definitely say they did their thing. So I don't want to say that, like when I said it before, like, Suns blew this game. I feel like it's both. Suns, not just the games, the series. I feel like Suns blowing it, but like Bucks definitely putting in that work to claim that chip. Like I'm not gonna say like the Bucks didn't earn this chip.
I just want to add one more thing. I saw this tweet and I looked it up again from StatMuse, and it says this is why I believe the Bucks won, at least like Obi said, this last game. And the Suns didn't lose it. The Suns are the first team in NBA history to lose a playoff game, shooting 55% from the field and 60% from three. Yeah. So I'm like, unless you want to just say they stunk it up completely on defense, I gotta go towards the Suns. The Bucks won that game.
I think I like that, Bentley, because what I found myself thinking about while I was sitting here listening to you guys was, okay, we know what it looks like, we know what's happening. What is there left for Phoenix to do? You know what I mean? Like what, if I'm the coach, if I'm the players, what is there left for us to do to try and adjust and win, 2 out of 3 if Milwaukee still continues to play to their strengths the way that they are? And I don't see like I said in the beginning, I don't see another move. So that means even if Phoenix does what they do well, right? And Milwaukee does what they do well, like I don't know how grammatically that sounds, but you know what I'm saying. Milwaukee would most likely come out, on top, so that plays to the point that you're making, Bentley, that it's that is definitely the Bucks.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just feel that they shot out of this world, and not much you could could do about that.
One thing I will point out is Budenholzer is definitely lead. I mean, he's done it a while. He's done it a few times, but he's leaving Brook on the bench in the fourth, which turns, which makes it ramps up the defense. Even though they did blow the lead, it still ramps up the defense with Giannis just switching everything. And you know, and I say this all the time. I think Giannis is the best center in the game right now. Maybe well, he's not messing with Embiid, but just the versatility that he gives you on the court at the same time. Like, when he's on the court against Embiid, like who is better? I mean, we'll never know because the Hawks, took him out. But when you put Giannis at the three, and you force him to continue to back up, assess the offense and do the same move and just try to, I mean, it works, but it doesn't work on a Jimmy, on a Jimmy Butler or whatever. And it's just like, and especially when they're building a wall, because he's quick-footed enough to stop it. But when he has an Ayton on him, when you have the center on him and he brings you out to the wing, now it's a little different dynamic because it's like, okay, first of all, like Ayton's chasing around this pick and roll because he's setting mad screens, and now it was one-on-one. Ayton is tired. Remember, Ayton had to play 45 minutes because one thing that we haven't mentioned is Sarge being hurt changed the dynamic of that.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
I'm not sure.
About that.
Honestly, I'm not sure if it would
depth. Just in terms of depth, if no
other
reason,
it's pushing them to the limit.
I won't give them an excuse for it because Ayton is a young man, and and he's doing his thing while he's out there. He played 45 minutes and he didn't seem too gassed. So it's just one thing to note that Ayton can't take a break. The team falls apart if he's not there because they don't have one other person that can even stand in front. Like Sarge would have made a big deal, made a big difference. So but yeah, when you put Giannis at the 5 and let him screen all day, like every single play, it changes Chris Middleton's game drastically if you let Giannis screen for him, because he's such a good screener and he's such a threat on the roll that you have to focus. Your team has to focus on that role where you could just cut them to pieces with those mid-range, the shots. And then the same thing with Jrue, and Jrue has such an amazing game that game. It's just like, every time Giannis is setting screens, it's a wrap, So, I'm still not willing to laugh and say Bucks because Suns could get crazy any minute. And then one thing is Cam Johnson has been balling. It's like I've never seen him miss.
He needs more.
It's
minutes. He needs more minutes.
Yeah. But who would he take from? So it's but he's been a surprise to me. And then if your twin, starts, hooping again, Bridges, if they, Cam Johnson and Bridges connect at the same time and everyone else does what they do, you never know. They could definitely win game 6 and game 7 is always a toss up. So I'm not going to say this series is over. I'm not even going to say it's leaning anywhere. I just got to see the game. So I'm not even going to predict that one. But yeah, man, for sure.
Before we move on, Ben, do we want to change our predictions before we go to the do we want to make new picks? Obi's still alive with his game set with his Bucks 7. So
listen, I guess we make the rules. So
damn right, we make the
rules. I will go with Suns at 7.
That's what I'm saying. Suns, I got Suns at 7.
I'll still take my W if Bucks win in 6. I hope y'all know that.
You alive.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So moving on to Dame, right? Without a smooth transition, I feel like that's also how it was, right? It just out of nowhere, Dame, we hear in the news that Dame is just gonna choose some teams, that he's gonna ask for a trade to, and then for those who didn't know, Dame sat. The story broke by some nobody, saying, "Oh, Dame's gonna ask for a trade in a couple of days," and Dame kind of made it even worse with "Oh yeah, I haven't made a decision yet," which sounded like what? Oh, okay, you just confirmed it to everybody.
Yeah, he definitely didn't. He didn't refute anything.
Translation.
So
I'm out of here.
So when he said that, everyone just "Oh, it's lit. What are we gonna do for it?" So
he should have did a KD reaction and just cursed out the dude that reported it and tell him how much he hates him.
He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know basketball. You're an idiot.
You don't even have my number.
You don't even have my number.
You DM me, you didn't text me.
Like it's like
There you
huge,
go.
Don't
There
lie.
you
a
go.
huge difference.
Um.
Uh,
So obviously now, the arms race will begin, for uh teams that have possible
can you
packages that
disqualify
to
your
put
Lakers?
together. You said that I disqualify?
Can you disqualify them? Please, can we stop with the nonsense? Like, can
I
you tell
haven't
the
even
Laker? Can you
I
look at the
didn't
Laker
leave with
fans?
them. I didn't
I
even
know.
name the team yet.
I
I
need
didn't
you
even
to. I need you to look at the Laker fans and tell them it's not happening because they need to know.
listen. Stranger things have happened. All right. All right. Stranger things have happened. Now, I don't know the general manager over there in Portland. I don't know what drugs he may use. I don't know who may have naked videos of him. I don't know. I don't know. But that's probably the only way that we would be getting Dame from the from Portland. It would
Yo,
have to be
listen,
one of
Stranger
those
things
listen.
have not
Yo,
scenarios.
happened.
hold,
Stranger
It
things
would
have
have
not
to be
wait,
one
happened.
of those
wait.
scenarios.
I gotta agree with Earl on this one. Look what the Rockets got back for freaking James Harden. They didn't get a damn thing,
Th-
really.
Wait, hold on. But the Lakers don't have that.
Yeah,
I
they
know,
did.
I know, I know. I'm just
So
saying
let me
that my point is that
That's like
some GMs are on crack. That's all I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah, I was just making it. So my point. I was obviously joking, but my point is that yeah, we don't. It would take some shady backdoor dealings, for us to possibly land Dame in the Lakers, for in a Laker jersey, just based on what we have to offer. We don't have enough in comparison to what some other teams have to offer. The Portland GM would have to be like, yeah, an idiot,
I
to
have a question. I have a question though, Earl.
go ahead.
As a Laker fan, and that being your squad, seeing what LeBron has done with superstar point guard in the past, Kyrie, what? Sorry for the superstar term, Obi, but how would how would you feel about giving up AD for Dame in a package, whatever it is?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
you would be.
What would make me think about it is how AD played prior to the injury this year, and then him getting injured. That would be the only thing that even makes me entertain the thought. But no, there's too much happening to lose one of those other pieces, and bring in and think. I mean, if you're gonna do that, then you might as well trade LeBron for Dame. Like if like based on the reasons you would be
Oh
trading
damn!
Anthony Davis. You know what I mean? Like it's almost the same
Yeah,
idea. LeBron's
Yeah,
even older.
yeah. That's the thing. Like, AD's younger than he's younger than Dame.
He's
I mean,
younger
he
than
hasn't been
Dame. He's
healthy.
younger than Dame, right?
He,
Is he younger than Dame?
yeah, yeah. I think significantly. I think like 3 or 4 years.
Gotcha.
I don't remember 100%. I know Dame is 31. I feel like AD is still like 27.
27 or 28, if I'm guessing. So
So
I'm with you. It's probably somewhere in there.
so but so a few things I want to tackle, right? Like the whole concept that AD, we got to remember these are our superstars that we're talking about, right? Like you can't just trade AD to the middle of nowhere. That doesn't work. He's not going to just show up to work. Like he just like left a similar market,
that's a
so
fact.
he's not
Yeah.
going to be happy. So they're not going to take him in, and then like it's just a pointless.
But to be fair, Bentley was asking from the fan standpoint, like what I
No, I
want.
know, and
Yeah.
I'm not talking to Ben. Like
Mhm.
I'm talking to the Laker Nation that
Yeah.
thinks that they live in this. They saw it and they were like, "Oh, it's lit! It's lit." They talking to us. They talking to me.
Yeah, it's not even if and I think to that point, Obi, I think what folks forget, like as much as Dame may wanna come to the Lakers, you know what I mean? Like he's not a free agent. Like, like this is not that type of a situation where he's just gonna be,
Yeah,
holding a press conference saying, hey, I'm coming to Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like there's a there's a whole nother franchise involved here that is, trying to get back some type of value, and compensation for the best player that for possibly the best player they've ever had in their franchise. Like so.
yeah.
Um, yeah,
So
so
let
the
me.
Lakers are probably not a realistic, landing spot. There are a
Before I move
few.
on,
I'll let you guys name one of we know who they are, so
wait, before we move on from the Lakers, I want to name a few things that stop that trade from happening, right? Because we got to start with Kawhi Leonard, right? The master plan was to trade everything you had. Whose headset is that? The master plan was to trade everything you had for AD because you were going to be able to get someone in free agency, right? Um, they were thinking that they were going to get Paul George, but that was earlier, right? And then they thought, okay, Kawhi, we're going to wine and dine him. We're going to convince him to come, whatever. And that was going to be the third. That was going to be the third thing that fell through, right? Cool. So that was your chance to get a big three. The other thing which messed it up was they decided to keep Kuzma over Brandon Ingram. There's a possibility, not maybe, Pelicans aren't stupid and they were like, no, we're never taking Kuzma. But there's a lot of people that think they could have swapped Kuzma because there was a time when Kuzma had a high upside in the NBA, right? And he was the last piece left to be a trading piece for things like this. But he sucks. He's terrible. He's a China player. Like, he should be playing in China, like, send him to China. Seriously.
Oh my God. He want to banish the man.
Yeah, no, send him and Kevin Knox could go do their thing.
Yeah. They can go play Fortnite. Get him out of here.
Yeah. Who's so just the thing and to tackle the Rockets thing, right? The Rockets traded Harden. That was the best offer, oddly enough, right? Because Karis LeVert is nice. They messed up because they didn't take Karis LeVert, but it comes. You might bring it back full loop. Like, they might have known what they were doing because they didn't have their draft pick, so they had to do some real bad losing in order to keep their draft pick. And now they could be getting Cade, or they could be getting well, they're not going to get Cade, but whoever they decide to get,
they end up getting a higher pick than they would have gotten.
They keep their pick. Yeah. So it's like, do you want Karis? Now, Karis ended up being hurt for with the internal issues, not really hurt, but so it just but they would have had that piece, so that's the thing. So and they also Jared Allen too. Jared Allen and Karis LeVert, two great players in that trade, and then they gave everything up, all their draft picks for the foreseeable future. So moving ahead to the Knicks, right? Because we gotta squash all these things, right? Not that the Knicks can't get Dame, but can you guys stop with the fantasy thing where you're gonna keep RJ? Like, no. He is a centerpiece of the trade. Everyone said, "Oh, we're gonna have RJ. It's gonna be Randall, RJ, and Dame." I'm like, so what y'all gonna give him? You think they want Knox and Mitchell Robinson?
Well,
their own moms don't want them. They
hold on. All right, now you violating. Now calm down.
Mitchell Robinson.
Calm down.
Mitchell Robinson. Knox's mom's not so much.
Mitchell Robinson is dead nice. That's number one.
Oh my God! You remember when, Errol? Do you remember when they wanted? A lot of players were like, "Yo, I'm not trading Mitchell Robinson for AD." There was a lot of Knicks people were saying this nonsense.
Who said that? Who said that? Now you making stuff up. You gotta drop some names for those takes. You can't just do that and troll. You gotta drop somebody you know personally that said that.
I don't want to OD on them. I promise you. I promise you, it was multiple people. I promise you, it was multiple people, and these are very very knowledgeable basketball fans. So I will say this: Knicks fans, if you're watching, comment if you know somebody. You don't have to air them out. Comment if you know somebody that said, "Yo, I don't think it makes sense to trade for AD, especially if we have to give up Mitchell Robinson." That was the conversation.
That is ludicrous, bro. That is ludicrous. We're gonna have to bring that to the group chat as a reminder, because it might be your friends outside of the one I'm in with you and a lot of your friends, but I don't recall anybody saying they wouldn't get that. The nail in the coffin, the blind do not pass go was Mitchell Robinson to get Anthony Davis.
Bro, you forget how high these people were on Mitch. But I digress. So I'll just say this: I think right now the best three packages right now coming from the Knicks. The Knicks, the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Warriors. Because Warriors can give a Wiseman.
I think the Warriors have the best package, period. You know what I mean? Like, just for any move that you try to make, I think they have the just the most, like in terms of picks and young talent, and a player with a lot of money on his deal left to eat, to make the money work if they had to, to get a star, like if they wanted to move Wiggins just because, just to make the money work.
Yeah. And there's a lot of technicalities with that. I actually learned something new like recently. Like the Knicks can actually get Dame without matching his contract because they have the cap space. And it's like a weird technicality. Such a strange, like you have to really like go deep into the weeds to find that. Like I didn't even know that was possible.
Do they at least have a term? I'd like to say at least be able
There's-
to give the term so we
I'll,
can tell
I'll
them to tell the
I'll be
people to
more
Google it.
knowledgeable next time on it, so I can bring it
So
up.
we
I
can
was
tell the
someone
folks, if
someone
somebody
schooled
wants to
me
go
on
look
it.
it
So
up.
yeah, someone schooled me on it, I definitely lost that argument. So it's definitely a technicality. But yeah, so it would be a trade centered around RJ, a trade centered around Ben Simmons, or a trade centered around Wiseman and draft picks. What would y'all do?
Okay, as far as RJ,
You're the
it's
Blazers.
as
You're the
oh, if I'm
Blazers.
the Blazers,
Yes.
I
So do
I ain't
both.
say what
No,
I
do
didn't say
both.
what I
Do
would give
both.
up for the Knicks yet.
Yeah, do both. Do
No,
both. Do both. Do both.
Okay, me personally, I don't think that we're a Dame away from winning a championship. These guys are mad young and they're still developing. So even though I would be open to trading for him, obviously, I depending on what else is included with RJ. No, I'm not trading RJ. I'm sorry. Fuck it. No, you're not gonna talk me into this. I see what you tried to do. I see what you tried to do. I'm not doing it. I'm not
so
leaving.
Oh, that was classic. That was really good.
I'm not leaving. You got the floor, Earl.
So so at least tell us, so if not RJ, then tell us who you would be willing to.
Obi's gonna end
I
up.
can't even get it
Why?
out.
Why are you doing that? Why are you
I
gonna do that?
swear,
Frank
I can't
Frank
even get it out.
Ntilikina for Dame
Yo,
Lillard, straight up.
he,
That's the only thing Knicks fans will give up.
he already damn near pissed himself laughing at the fact that Knicks fans thought they could get Dame without giving up RJ. I'm not about to entertain this exercise so Obi could enjoy himself.
Fine. So if I'm Portland, um, Philly has the most attractive package, but you have to ask yourself, if you're Philly, are you trying to uh rebuild or just retool, right? Like, are you gonna really strip it and start from scratch, right? Because if that's the
Philly
case,
or Portland?
no, if you're Portland, you got to
Gotcha.
decide. Yeah, you got to decide if you're really trying to strip it and start. I don't think that Philly it should be trying to, start over. Like they should, like that's just in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. You go for Dame, you go for a chip.
Exactly. So, but for Portland, you have to decide, and I guess when we see what package they actually take, then we'll know where what direction they were trying to go in. But if you are not trying to totally strip it down to the bare bones and you want to still be able to compete next year, then you go for you go get Ben Simmons, you try to pair him with CJ, and see what you can do with that, right? But if you if you're looking more years down the line and you're going to trust the process type of deal, right? I then then in my opinion, you may want to go with the Warriors uh package with the picks, or I'll throw a wrench in there. You may want to also do another deal of some kind where you're even dealing CJ, you know, if you're going the rebuild route,
Mhm.
because I think CJ would have a lot of trade value. It's just if you're Portland, how could you lose both of them? You know what I mean? Like it's like and still compete. So I think that for winning purposes, I think Philly would make the most sense. But is Ben Simmons so tainted right now that nobody like they're like, nah, I'll rather give me Wiseman in the picks, over over Ben Simmons.
I'll take
So
Ben.
so right, like there's a lot of people that think that Ben Simmons is a sports psychologist away from being like Giannis, Bronny type player. Baby Bron type player. So, and that's something intriguing, right? If I can get, I would probably go with the Philly trade too. If I can get Ben Simmons and picks, and maybe one of another young player like Maxi or whatever over there, whoever they got, I would definitely lean towards that because you got to think watching Giannis play, he's not as explosive as Giannis, but he has skill sets that I could use in a similar fashion. So if I can get 4 shooters around Ben and just like make sure Ben is like the 5 at the end of the games and whatnot, I don't know. It might make sense for me. You couple with CJ, but one thing you just got to do, you got to think about too, like, right? Like Ben has been considered lazy. He hasn't added to his game at all. Never, nothing's changed since his rookie year, right? But now that the entire world is laughing at him, like every time you turn on the internet, like there's a meme about him, he's hit rock bottom. This is the time to buy Ben stock. He has to get better right now. Like, even Kobe before he died, what he said was, Ben got to put in the work. Like, he has to reconstruct the shot. He needs to do this, like that. So he has to be hearing this, and this is all he said he's not going to play in Australia, the Australia Olympics this year. For Australia this year. So he's putting in that work. So I'm going to say Ben Simmons is very intriguing because he also has 4 years left on his contract. So if you grab him over there.
That's an excellent point, Obi. That is an excellent point.
You have a chance as maybe him being a superstar. If not, Ben still just led a team to a number 1 seed. Like you can still make the playoffs with Ben, in the regular season when coaches aren't game planning against him and not taking games so seriously. So, I would definitely go get Ben, put mad shooters around him. So that's what I would do.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Obi just gave me a great idea. So this is what the Knicks could do. They could take that bullshit trade that Obi laughing about for Dame, and they could send it to the Sixers and get Ben Simmons. We give a bum ass, clear all the lottery draft pick bums, throw in a couple picks. Come on, Ben Simmons. Here you go. You can have Frank Knox. You can have I said Frank Knox. Matter of fact, we're the same person. I'll keep it like that. I'll keep it like that.
Frank Knox could be a solid bench player.
Yes, Frank Knox.
Frank Knox could be a solid bench player.
If he was Frank Knox.
Y'all take Frank Knox. You give us Ben Simmons. We call it even Steven. Boom, boom, bow.
I like that though, Bentley. While we're giving little silver linings, this will be the last thing I say for the day. Also, to try and give my Lakers just a little bit of realistic hope. We're not gonna get Dame, without an active God, but realistic guards to keep on our radar. Restricted free agent Lonzo Ball, unrestricted free agent Kyle Lowry. And there's a couple of other secondary moves to try and get some shooters that we can make. But Dame time, it will not be touching down in Hollywood.
What if Chris Paul opts out and goes to the Lakers or the Knicks?
I wanted to reserve. I wanted to reserve until the final.
Now you just want to.
I wanted to see how the
now
final.
You just want to mess with me, Obi.
No. I wanted to see how the. No. That's not that
market.
crazy.
That's where I would retire if I'm.
I just wanted to wait. I just wanted to wait until how this finals played out to see if maybe that had any bearing on what he would do, in the offseason, whether they won or lost,
Yeah, now I hear you on that. Too early to speculate.
Yeah. Jaylen Brown for Dame Lillard. You heard it here first.
That's what's going to happen?
Just Jaylen Brown?
That's a straight up trade. Whatever they might have to add something in for the money, but Jaylen Brown for Dame Lillard.
Okay, Obi, with the bold take. Put it on the board.
Let's revisit that. Let's revisit that soon. I don't hate that. I don't love it. I don't hate it. Let's revisit that soon.
Yes, sir.
Yo.
All right, y'all. Just wrapping it up. Appreciate y'all. If y'all haven't already, make sure you smash that like button.
You right there. You smash it.
Smash that like button. Follow and share. We really appreciate the love and the positive vibes in the comments. Continue. Um, Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and take care.
Thank you.
It's your boy.
We
Not
love
gonna
y'all.
lie.
Not gonna lie.
Not gonna lie.